Hi there, it's Chris Hamilton here with Intralinks, and I am the Western Canadian based representative for them. You can reach me at 587 333 2875 or chamilton at intralinks.com. Hey, what I'm going to show you is how to prospect using our Deal Nexus platform to find companies. And this came up in a meeting, so I thought I'd actually show people how to do this. So, for example, there are a lot of private equity firms that are currently looking for mandates because they have an awful lot of cash in their coffers. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show just in the Alberta area how to find and network and connect with these people and potentially actually prospect using this tool. So in the companies section up here for Deal Nexus, I go into private equity groups here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a region and I'll type in Alberta. We've selected that. And then what I'm going to do, just to show you the power of the system here, is I'm going to show you that we'll just search on this and see how many private equity groups are looking for stuff in Alberta. So when I pull this up, there are 787 private equity groups looking for projects in Alberta. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just figure out an industry. So I'm going to pull up our industry tree here, and then what I'll do is I'm going to go into the energy sector, and I'm going to go into oil and gas exploration and production, for example. And actually, you know what? No, I'm going to use the energy services and equipment for this one. And so what we've got here is now I've got any PE firm looking for deals in Alberta in the energy services sector. I could actually go in and say, look for anyone that's on a buy side or a capital raise or anything like that, but I'm just going to keep it wide open at this point in time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search down here. It's going to bring up the list here, and it throttles it down a bit, but it brings up 335 companies. Now let's just say that my transaction sizes are typically going to be greater than 50 million. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to search on that because I've changed the transaction size up to 30 to 50 million, and it brings this down to a list of 47. So what I've done is I've actively looked for private equity groups that are looking for energy services deals in Alberta that are above 50 million in size. And now it's brought up this list for me. So I've got a whole bunch of different companies here that I could go take a look at and figure out who would be ideal to go approach. So, for example, I'm going to go to Border Capital here. So if I hover on Border Capital, it's going to bring up their information. Now, what I could do, I'll go to view their profile. And once I view their profile, I can see here's their information on them. Here's what they're looking for. Here's some of their portfolio companies. Here's the stuff they're interested in. They're interested in Canada and the U.S. And what I've got is Todd Hamilton here. So what I would do is I can click on Todd Hamilton, and I can go view his profile if I want. And what I've got is I've got Todd's name, I've got his title, I've got the company, I've got his phone number, and I've got his email address. Now, because I know Todd probably doesn't have any feet on the street here, this is a way that I could prospect for him. I could reach out to Todd and say, hey, Todd, you know what? I'm based in Alberta. I'm looking for this stuff. And if you're in BC, you could do the same thing, or Saskatchewan, or wherever you are around the world. And I would like to be potentially your feet on the street if you're looking for stuff specifically here. And the nice thing about that is that you could get these guys engaged as a client for doing that sort of stuff and being paid for that. And one other thing that's great is if you're Canadian based, this gets around CASL, which is Canadian anti-spam laws. Because of the fact that Deal Nexus is a closed system, people have actually registered to be on the system, and they've given their approval to be reached out to. So if you're sending information through the system, you can hit send a message to this guy here, and that will get around any CASL or Canadian anti-spam laws. So long story short, you know what? PE firms are looking. They got a lot of cash. Here's a way that you can go and find these guys And most of them don't have feet on the street in the Alberta or BC or even Saskatchewan marketplace. And it's a great way to reach out to these guys and say, hey, look, we can look at some buy-side mandates for you. If you need help, feel free to reach out to me, 587-333-2875. Or you can reach me, chamilton at intralinks.com. Once again, Chris Hamilton here. Thanks for viewing.